Hello and welcome everybody to the majors update with NC. I hope you had a great weekend so far. We have some new developments in the crypto market, and today we're gonna, as usual, dive into the majors. Let's start with BTC. We have a little bounce from here, so the levels are still valid. We just scam-wicked them. The upper level reacted again quite nicely. At the same time, this like 5% bounce occurs, I see more people having more hope again. And as I said in my live stream last week, I think a bounce from here is very likely because I guess many people capitulated within this week and now with this sell-off here. And so a bounce to make them rebuy back again or to chase or to doubt their whole analysis makes perfect sense. What I'm looking at most is the 2 daily closes below the 107k swing low, because I just ignored the wick. This is my current swing low still, and we have one partial red candle below, we have a full green candle below. So higher time frame structure is basically broken to the downside, even though it's hidden behind that wick. But to me, this is a break of structure. And so my next logical assumption is that we have, after the close below, we have a pullback, probably a pullback into a key level here, filling the remaining gaps, and I will definitely take another short here. If this will be right or not, I can't tell because I trade probabilities, but I will still take this trade, manage my risk, and if I'm right with my thesis, I have another short from the maybe even bull market top of BTC, and if not, I pay a little stop, which is already covered more or less by this TP here. So either way, I'm still leaning more to the short side, and until proven otherwise, until like a break of structure above this high, I say this is the top, this is distribution, and I'm willing to be proven wrong. But yeah, as said, break of structure to the downside. Be aware of that, and don't try to force your buys onto the chart. I just trade market structure here, and so my probability shifted still to being more short, but time will tell. As said, willing to be proven wrong. On ETH, the picture is a little bit different. We have one full body below the structure here, but at the same time, the whole move down wasn't as aggressive, at least not taking out this little demand here. So we are still holding the structure more or less, but we have broken it already, at least with one daily candle. But ETH has a history of doing this over and over. You see daily close below, and then it just rips higher. Usually those kind of patterns happen like 3 times in a row, and the 4th time doesn't work as well anymore. So this would be a 3rd time. Still seeing potential ETH ripping to new all-time highs, taking 5k, making everybody super bullish again. I think it doesn't need to happen because people are super bullish crypto anyway most of the time. People just buy anyway. Doesn't really matter what price does. At the same time, I like the supply up here for a short, just because structure is broken. We are at higher time frame premium still. Also here, willing to pay the stop for being hedged. For me, as said before, selling ETH up here is similar to buying ETH on here spot. I can't sell more spot because I've sold my spot already up here. So what can I do? I sell more with a short. And same on BTC. Shorting up here, selling more BTC up here is to me more or less like buying BTC for 20k or below. And so I try to sell as much as I can with risk management. And same story on ETH. And most altcoins are still sitting at high time frame discount, but in the end, I trade crypto majors. I don't trade those altcoins on their own. And so if I look at majors, for example, USDTD, sorry, we started to fill the wick, and we made an internal high. We closed several bodies above. Also the weekly took out this little internal high here, closed the body above. So this is definitely not bearish structure here anymore. Ever since we took the internal high. Now the question is, will we take this? Will we take this key high here? and really form a higher time frame, higher time frame higher highs. Time will tell, but for now, for me, this is showing signs of strength. Same story on USDC. And we have even taken this high here, this internal high. So we are breaking more and more structure. We also closed above the 0.5. So the range high is becoming more likely in my view. And then the question is obviously, is this really like the big change of structure? Because on USDC, we obviously broke structure here already. So we went from lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows to higher high, higher low. Now we take internal structure already. So we close above the internal structure and we went for the supply already. But after taking this, a pullback makes sense. Maybe filling this, as said, I expect a bounce from here also on majors on crypto, just because it makes perfect sense, shaking everybody out, bouncing again. The question is then, can this bounce lead to something more than just a bounce? And this remains to be seen, but a bounce makes sense. I haven't updated those fibs, by the way. But yeah, there's confluence definitely for those levels. We have a similar level on Tether. Also not really updated yet, but if we want to include the scameback or not. Either way, this is in discount. I can force a fib that it perfectly aligns, but this is definitely something we're probably going to fill. And as said, this would make perfect sense for this kind of counter trend bounce, dead cat bounce, which is maybe already in the making. What is this? You see like 7, 8, 9, 10% BTC. And I mean, a 10% bounce would probably make many people very, very bullish. And so as usual, sentiment will flip-flop quite aggressive. We will see what order flow says. We will see what sentiment says. If there are tons of shorts opening, like mainly shorts, like a very clear picture of people just aggressively shorting this move, I consider this with my sizing smaller, or not taking a trade at all, but this one is so optimal in my view that I definitely want to take it. And so, as I said in my poker example, to me, if then the level is not as optimal, maybe based on order flow in this case, I just play like on less size. But I still think that's a good hand to play anyway. So BTCD also still grinding higher, meaning BTC getting a bigger share of the pie. We have also level below. You see this kind of level, the daily within the FVG here is basically on almost all majors, on almost all dominance majors. Interesting here, ETH dominance still in a downtrend, maybe working on some kind of breakout here, and then we could see the very likely target I've marked out. I'm still not abandoning this, but I know how altcoins behave. Should this really be the first sell-off? And so I still think this could happen, and I still think like altcoins could do well, but at the same time, I know if they don't, they probably going to nuke quite aggressive. And then I don't want to be trapped in longs underwater or something like that. So I cut a lot of my positions around break even, or even for a slight profit, depending on which position, for example. And I still have 30% of it left. And the first thing I would want to see to add some exposure back is, for example, an ETH BTC this here to break, like breaking out here, maybe a little pullback, and then I would maybe consider adding some of my spot exposure back, maybe taking some more longs. But until this really happens, I'm not really bullish altcoins, to be honest. Same story here. As long as we just keep on going, making higher highs. Why would I be overly bullish on altcoins? Yeah, so doesn't make too much sense to me, especially considering that there are so many markets and it's about RR anyway. So why would I need to chase some fancy animal coin that is offering me maybe 5 to 10 R if I can do the same thing with stocks on a way higher win rate, and even not being completely synchron. So if I have one altcoin, I have basically all of them. So yeah, as said, BOL reacting first. I said last week, it's reacting from this demand. It took some while. We grinded lower and lower and lower, but this can happen, right? And we start making a higher high here, so we will probably head for range high. And this is also a sign for me that maybe higher time frame program has changed. We have been in higher time frame buy program. Now we close below swing lows, below key lows, and this is reacting. So adds confluence to my thesis. BOL was back at demand yesterday, I guess, and yeah, Sunday, and so it reacted from there. EVOL also coming back, probably giving us another reaction here of volatility. Yeah, let's look at others as well. We're still holding this level quite nice. We broke internal structure. Nothing really has changed here. But we also haven't really closed below this here, right? So only slightly below the level. So technically the level is still intact. But also technically this is still a downtrend. And if you look at this, it basically looks like Doge, doesn't it? So we have big pump into 40 cents, big sell-off, big pump into the supply, big sell-off, big pump, big sell-off here. Like not as aggressive as Doge only, but I guess this is what most altcoins look like. We had this big aggressive pump, and now this could definitely be the right shoulder, and it's just over, right? So consider every outcome, not just the one that sounds the most appealing to you, because you have still big altcoin exposure. Yeah, total 2 also managed to really close below the internal low here with several bodies. So structure is breaking. We haven't really taken this, but we have to take those two. Internal break of structure. Trade market structure, not bias. We have probably some levels up here still left to take. As said, bounce makes sense. Filling those gaps makes perfect sense. And I will take those opportunities to get into more shorts and even offload more of my spot. I still have 30% left, which is still something. And so I could consider like this bounce to sell the rest if I would like to, depending on what order flow says, what sentiment says. I bet should we get a bounce like this, people get so bullish again in a very short period of time, because they have to, because their hope and their belief like need them to be bullish. Because if you're still like holding on to those ideas, getting rich quick, having all those positions maybe deeply underwater, maybe bought back, all your plans are based on that, you will find reasons why it's still reasonable to do that, right? And yeah, I will be curious to see what's going on. Order flow will also guide us the way there. Technically, as said, total 2, and also like basically like ETH did not take this low, but we closed more and more candles below here. And the more closes we have below, the more time we spend below those lows, the more it shows that whales or institutions or whoever is not willing to push price higher, and more closes below just mean it's a strong close. Consider with closes, for example, for the weekly close, it's basically one minute candle that closes the weekly, and so they could just push price down or up for this 1 minute or for just 1 hour, make the close there, print this close, and then just push price higher again or lower, to just create the impression of, oh yeah, we closed the weekly here. So this is why we look at several time frames, right? Because just one time frame, as said, can easily be manipulated, but the longer they have to like hold price there, the more expensive and the more risky it gets for them. So more closes mean more cleaner closes also. Total 3, same story as on total 2, more closes below the internal low, also below this one. I would argue structure is turning bearish. Time will tell. Open to be proven wrong, as said. And these are basically all the majors. We can look at the SPX, still in the short, still below this high, still already taking the minus 0.5. Like this one, right? No. Where was this minus 0.5? I was looking at. Anyway, I don't really remember where it was. Let's look at the chart, like what it is. is not as important in this particular case because I do not try to predict the top. What I see here is we had an uptrend and it was broken. It was broken here with the trend line, big sell-off. We took the low out here. We make a lower high for now. And as long as this is like a lower high and as long as this could potentially be the top, I'm very happily short here just to hedge all of my stock longs. And should I be wrong, I pay the stop loss for that, which is why I have risk management and a stop loss in place, right? So there is no reason for me to be right all the time. It's only important that I manage my risk properly and to stay flexible and prepare for every outcome. So as said, in my view, structure is turning bearish. The pump seems to continue as I speak. And as said, I'm very, very happy to be proven wrong, but I have my orders ready for adding to my short here. And we will see, time will tell. Is there another big pump left? Is it just a counter trend bounce? Is it just like a dead cat bounce? Time will tell. Stay open, stay flexible. Don't force your bias onto the chart. Just trade the charts and manage your risk. That said, I wish everybody a great week ahead and enjoy your time. Bye bye.